I recently did a video about my cold steel Voyager, and a while back I did a video about my cold steel 4MAX Scout. These are probably my two most carried EDC knives. I've mentioned a couple of times but never featured my Spyderco Endura, but I figured I'd put them all here together. The Voyager has the Snaggletooth Tactical mod, which can snag on a pants pocket to flick it open. It's pretty quick. And it has a full flat ground AUS 10 blade that's pretty slim, actually. It slices extremely well. The Spyderco Endura is a little bit smaller and daintier, but it's got a VG10 blade. This one has lived in my bathroom for a while, so it looks like it's kind of oxidized a bit. It's no good, but I mean, it'll still function. The big problem is the pocket clip got sprung, and I can't carry a pocket knife without a pocket clip. So I've stopped carrying this, at least until I can find a replacement pocket clip. But this one was a Lone Wolf Distributors exclusive. It has the Emerson Wave, and the real party trick is it has a 3/32 punch, meant to be a Glock armorer's tool. Lone Wolf Distributors, for anyone who's not aware, is a fairly large manufacturer of accessories for Glock pistols. Ironically enough, this one, Lone Wolf sells these distributor Lone Wolf exclusive models for cheaper than a base model Endura goes for on Amazon. So, and of course we have the Cold Steel 4MAX Scout. These at the moment are probably the best deal going. I think on Amazon you can get them for less than $50 as I speak, which it's a wonderful knife for that price especially, but it's a wonderful knife for any price, I would say. The Endura, Spyderco's bidirectional tread pattern, whatever they call this, little volcano style pattern, is pretty grippy, pretty nice. It's aesthetic because it has a sort of a spider web theme to it. Under the pocket clip, it has this very nice flat section, which serves to prevent snagging on the pocket under the pocket clip, and also has the Spyderco logo and the model number. So that's a nice feature that is absent on cold steel knives. But aside from that, I am not typically very impressed with Spydercos. I think they're really a bit overrated. I don't have an awful lot of experience with them. I used to have a Delica many years ago, just a base model Delica 4. That was my first good folding knife. And I've had several Birds and a Spyderco Tenacious, and of course this Endura. None of the knives have been one of Spyderco's more premium models, but nonetheless, I think they're just not quite as good as they could be. I think the Spyderco hole is more of a drawback than a feature. It does have its advantages. It is easier to open, for example, with an unconventional finger like this. Well, I missed it there. It's been a while since I've really played with Spydercos. I used to be able to open a Spyderco with any finger with a flip of a wrist, but this one, due to neglect and also due to just not having played with it very much lately, it's a little bit rusty. It does have the Emerson Wave function, but again, I'm not entirely sure if I would even consider that a plus. The grind on the Emerson blades is very shallow, so while the blade stock is pretty thin, the cutting edge is not nearly as thin as it could be, so it's just not as good a cutter as a dainty knife like this should be. It is a good poker. The Emerson knives are really marketed more towards self-defense than towards general utility. And I guess the blade shape is pretty good for that, but nonetheless, I just am not that impressed with them. They're good knives. They're good knives, and Spyderco is a good company, but not my cup of tea. The Voyager is meant to compete directly with the Endura. They're typically available for substantially less money than Enduras. I think I paid $60 for this, whereas I paid $75 for this, and on Amazon they go for closer to $100. But the blade is full flat ground, very thin, as I mentioned earlier, so this actually does cut well. The downside is that tip is very fine. I do not doubt that would be easy to snap off. There is also a spear point version, and I think a Tonto point version, which would be much more robust than this, but, you know, I have what I have, so that's all I can review. Cold Steel used to use AUS 8. That used to be their premium steel, and then that became their budget steel, as used on the Voyager. And a few years ago, they upgraded to AUS 10. And AUS 10, at least by Cold Steel, I would say is absolutely on par with VG10 from Spyderco. I don't feel that AUS 10 is a downgrade. It doesn't sound as premium, but when it comes to actual edge retention cutting performance, I don't notice a difference. Nor do I notice much of a difference. I think this may be slightly more corrosion resistant, but as you can see, you neglect it and it'll get a little bit of a patina as well. But sharpens easily, holds an edge well. I would say that AUS 10 is an excellent steel. I'm surprised more companies don't use it. I think it is a significant improvement over either AUS 8 or 8CR13 MOV or 9CR15 or you know, any of those budget steels. I think this is one of the best there is. I also think that it's a bit better than even Buck's vaunted 420HC. So, and the Cold Steel 4MAX Scout is similar, but is burlier in every way. You know, it's actually not that much longer. The blades on these are both nominally 4 inches, though the 4MAX has a longer cutting edge. It's made of thicker blade stock, though it has sort of this swedge up top that makes it appear a little bit narrower you know, from the top. But the handle on this, one thing I do notice is that the texture on the 4MAX is less aggressive than on the Voyager. The Voyager texture is actually pretty good with these Maltese cross shaped patterns on it. But this was a little bit more aggressive when I got it, but after a year of use, the pebbles sort of rounded over a little bit. It still locks in your hand pretty well. It's got this monster jimping on the back, which is quite effective. It's got this sort of finger guard there. It's got a well-defined finger choil for choking up. This has a little bit of a choil, and you can choke up, but it's much less defined. And the same with this. This has one thing I do like about the Spyderhole is it gives this excellent thumb ramp. The Snaggletooth Tactical also gives a good thumb ramp. Of course, there's no thumb ramp here. But on the flip side, you can choke up as much as you like. I've been debating getting a Snaggletooth for this as well. I just haven't ever done it. Of the pocket clips, I would say the 4MAX easily wins. This pocket clip snags a little bit, and they're non-ambidextrous. And this one, I mean, you see it did snag and sprung itself. But this is a very tough pocket clip, and yet it easily inserts and removes from the pocket without ripping anything. The handle comfort is quite high on this, though actually I think it's still not quite as comfortable as the Voyager to my hand. It's close. It's close. The Voyager handle, on the other hand, looks quite ugly. Both cold steels work quite well in a reverse grip, though the Voyager may work a little bit better with this sort of swept over portion here. Not that the ice pick grip is very useful for much, but occasionally it might be. Spyderco grip is fine, you know. It's a little bit thin, which is an advantage in the pocket, but a disadvantage in the hand. But all in all, while this has been my baby for quite some time, the more I carry the Voyager, the more I kind of like it. I think I may also get a Recon 1 at one point, which would hopefully sort of bridge the gap between the Voyager and the 4MAX, or either a Recon 1 or perhaps an 8010. The 8010 is sort of the little brother of this. It's the 4MAX Scout is an enlarged 8010. Or the 4MAX is basically an enlarged 8010, I should say. The 8010 would be more sized like this. The 8010 comes in both the Scout version, which would be quite similar in construction to the 4MAX Scout, or the regular version, which would have S35V steel and G10 handles. Amazon oftentimes has sales on 8010s, so while the market value is supposed to be quite high on those, like $200 or something like that, oftentimes you can get them for about $100 on Amazon. So I may have just talked myself into getting one. I don't know. I used to buy knives all the time when I was younger, and then I sort of stopped. I think this was the most recent knife I bought, and that's been well over a year and a half almost, actually. But the Voyager is sort of Cold Steel's bread and butter knife. It has been overshadowed a number of times. Originally, it was overshadowed by the Recon 1, which was Cold Steel's original premium folder, and the AK-47 and the American Lawman. And then all these knives have Andrew Dimco's Triad Lock, but then there were the Dimco designs like the 4MAX and the American Hunter, the Ultimate Hunter, American Hunter. I think it's Ultimate Hunter, and the 8010, 8015. So as we speak, the Voyager keeps on moving further and further down Cold Steel's lineup, but I still think it's an excellent knife. It's gone through several iterations over the years. They used to have a different style handle. They actually started making the Voyager before the Dimco lock existed, so the earlier Voyagers were just regular backlocks like the Spyderco. And by the way, the Triad Lock, for anyone that doesn't know, it is basically you can see a little better on this one. It's basically a backlock, but instead of having the lock bar actually contact the tang of the blade, as you see here, it has this extra stop pin. That's the Triad, and that's supposed to make it quite a bit stronger, and I believe it. It's been thoroughly tested, and it appears to do what it says on the tin. It does make it quite a bit stronger, both from springing in that direction, or from especially from having the blade collapse down towards your fingers. The 4MAX is an extremely robust knife. You'll see testing by Cold Steel and by Andrew Dimco, which, you can say is certainly not unbiased, and that's fair, but nonetheless, I don't think it's fake. And the real proof in the pudding came from Joe X, whose channel has faced some trouble in his home country in Austria, but he would always destructively test knives, and the Formax Scout specifically he found to be about the toughest knife there was. I don't think he was ever actually able to break it. The Voyager is quite a bit more fragile. Joe X was able to break these without too much drama. And the Spyderco, of course, was ridiculously easy. He broke this in like 30 seconds, which I think I could break it in 30 seconds if you just snap the blade sideways. I wouldn't try, but it's interesting seeing other people do it. Nonetheless, hope you found the video a little bit interesting. It's just sort of a follow-up of my two previous knife reviews, and also finally showing my Spyderco, which I've mentioned a couple of times. The Lone Wolf, if you get a Spyderco Endura, I can definitely recommend the Lone Wolf distributor exclusive. Seems to be sort of the one to get in my opinion. Just because of the added features, and it's got the Emerson Wave, and it's just a little bit less pricey than you would find at a knife shop or on Amazon. But have a good day.